I thought you were going to go with multi-pass. Isn't that a thing from that movie?
Yes. Multipass. Wow. Dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, it's in 23rd century New York City or wherever that was, laid waste by COVID-19. Bruce Willis. Okay, I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there is Brandon.
That's me.
Or
That's
Eeyore
me.
Today.
No, I got energy.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. This show is also on YouTube. You can watch us on video if you'd like, and that's on namely90s.com/YouTube. Finally, find our brand new Patreon page at patreon.com/namely90s, where you can explore tiers such as the Namely 90s Faithful, Jules Green Room, or the 90s Kids Club. We'd appreciate your donation. This show is brought to you by these sponsors and viewers like you. Wait, doing the PBS.
You got the link right this week. That's good.
Yeah, it's namely com./90s Patreon with a 90s. /com.90s.
Yeah.
So it's patreon.com/namely90s.
And since this is our first end of the month with Patreon, we get to read some names in the middle of the episode.
Yeah, boy, are we excited for that.
That'll be fun. So what's new with you? I feel like we wasted all our good material playing Rocket League last night.
Yeah, I know. That's always the problem. I say most of the funny things I say are on there, but there was also a lot of really lowbrow crap that we said on there. No, it's good. I getting here as is always the case was sort of harrowing. I moved away from the Seattle area to avoid traffic, and it took me like 50 minutes to get here, which is by here, like, I mean in eastern Washington, western Idaho.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. So that was fun. Then after this, I get to rush home and then take my 5-year-old to Taekwondo, where he's taking his test to get his yellow belt.
Oh, that's awesome. Are you going to be able to make that in time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll, and then just turn around and immediately drive back to here, basically. But it's okay.
All right. Nice.
What's up with you?
Not much. In the last few days, I've discovered something called modified diecast car racing on YouTube. This is basically they have Hot Wheels and they've built an elaborate track and they race them. And as strange as that sounds, it's kind of entertaining because they have two announcers and they like banter back and forth like it's an actual race, and they shoot it like it's it's an actual race. It's a 3D Bot Maker, I believe, is the channel. It's actually quite entertaining. There's even like this season, there's a little backstory on like some of the racers, and one of the announcers gets arrested at one point. It's been consuming me for a few days. I don't know why. It started out as like some article that I clicked on. They're like, oh, check out this 1/64 scale derby race where it makes it feel like the real thing. And I'm like, that's stupid. Click. And I'm like, and then 3 hours later, I'm like, where am I?
Yeah. You can't not watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half my YouTube suggestions are now this 3D Bot Maker diecast racing. I mean, if we could sponsor...
All of my Facebook ads are... Oh, what's that?
I said if we could sponsor a car...
Sponsor a team?
In the next season. Yeah, if we sponsor a team next season, that'd be cool. Namely90s.com/Patreon. Nope, other way around. Patreon.com/namely90s.
Patreon.com. I suppose we could make the other redirect work, but I forgot what I was going to interject. So it can't have been that important.
Something about diecast racing. Losing time to
Yep.
YouTube. Your Facebook page has a bunch of targeted ads.
My wife's been looking at outdoor furniture for our patio. So like literally every third post on Facebook, which is just an ad, is just outdoor furniture. But I just feel like these learning algorithms that know what you're shopping for, like, can they just, if they're already going to be mining our data, can't they mine the data that says that we already bought it and stop showing me ads for it?
Oh yeah, right. Wouldn't that be nice if the targeted ads on Instagram don't show up after you've purchased the thing that they're targeting you with?
Yeah, it's like, you just spent $1,200 on this. Do you want to do that again? Do you have 2 patios? No, get away from me.
Yeah, so it's like something unique like that. It's like, I don't need another HDMI converter so that I can record my Nintendo Switch and live stream it on Twitch.
Oh, did you see that Amazon bought MGM?
I saw that today. Was it MGM?
It's kind of cool.
I thought it was Universal.
Yeah.
MGM.
The James Bond one.
Gotcha. MGM.
Which is probably just owned by Comcast or something.
It's a big move by Bezos there.
AOL Time Disney Warner
Yes.
cast.
I'm just waiting for Disney to just own everything.
Anyway, wow. We are on, it's the May 1997 episode. And
Yes.
boy, what an episode it is.
Just to preface this, because we started in May with May 1995 and 96, we jumped from last week's 94 episode to this week's 97. And then we're going to have another jump when we hit next week. And then slight hops probably every other month after that. So if you're wondering where the May 1995 episode is, scroll all the way down to the bottom on our podcast page, and you'll find that as we go into May 1997. Yes, travel back with me to May 1997, if you will. On the 1st, Tony Blair is elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Also on the 1st, Tasmania becomes the last Australian state to decriminalize homosexuality. May 1997.
1997. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
On the 2nd, police arrest transsexual prostitute Atosine Siuli with actor Eddie Murphy. Pretty
In
sure.
Tasmania, the day after it was decriminalized. Wait, what? That's a complicated statement. I'm just going to back off of that one.
I do not believe Mr. Murphy was in Tasmania. On the 4th, the McLaren faction of the separatist group Republic of Texas surrenders to authorities after a week-long armed standoff. I believe they were trying to secede from the Union. Yeah.
In the words of, I believe, the band Little Texas, God Bless Texas. Is that Little Texas?
That sounds like a rapper.
It is. Yeah, it's by country group Little Texas. It's horrible.
Is there a rapper also named Little Texas? Except
I sure hope
with like
so.
3 apostrophes somewhere in the 5-letter word of Texas. And probably like a different vowel somewhere. On the 6th, Michael Jackson and the Bee Gees are inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 1990s. No. On the 6th as well, NHL team, what was it? Hartford Whalers.
Connecticut. Yeah.
Become the Carolina Hurricanes. Hurricanes, excuse me.
I like how they named them after a natural disaster.
Frequently goes through Carolina. On the 6th, David Duchovny marries actress Tia Leone. On the 9th, Bob Saget hosts his final regular episode of America's Funniest Home Videos on ABC. We talked about America's Funniest Videos before, and I could not remember for the life of me because since we've become the modern, it's no longer home videos. It's AMF or AFV. There's no home videos. Yeah. Yep. I did that a few times. So it's like my brain could not compute why it seemed different than America's Funniest Home Videos with Bob Saget, other than the fact that Bob Saget was on there. Now I know. It finally.
You ever seen that thing
itself.
where his daughter just looks like it's like him in a wig?
Bob Saget. I imagined his daughters to look like the Olsen twins, Candace Cameron and Jodie Sweetin. So no, I've not seen his actual daughter.
Nope. She looks like if she were Bob Saget with a wig on in his
see that.
late 20s.
Very tall. Didn't he have like a mullet in early seasons?
You have to look it up. It's good times. A mullet, yes.
In early seasons of that show, Full House.
Yeah, probably. I mean, hey.
Yeah, I swear. At least I think all three of them had some like near form of a mullet on Full House. Either way, on the 19th, Matthew Broderick marries Sarah Jessica Parker. 80s teen stars. Mm-hmm. On the 24th, Tim Allen is arrested for drunk driving in Michigan. And on the 27th, the first all-female expedition reaches the North Pole, and apparently they were Brits.
When I first read that, I was like, what's the British North Pole? Is that somehow different?
Yes. They still work off of the maps that have the dragons on the edges of the world.
Here be dragons.
TV ending in May 1997. On the 1st, we have Martin. On the 14th, Coach. On the
Craig T. Nelson, right? Yeah, I think so.
As Coach, yes. On the 16th, Baywatch Nights. On the 18th, Brotherly Love. That was the show with the Lawrence brothers. The 20th, we have Roseanne. Before
There is a God.
Except they brought it back in 2000 whatever.
Yeah.
On the 21st, pour one out for Wings. And
Wings.
In the box office, we have on the 2nd, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. On the 9th, The Fifth Element. And on the 23rd, Jurassic Park, The Lost World. On the Billboard charts for the final week in May. Actually, no, I always do this. I need to set this up better in my notes. Number 1 for the first 3 weeks in 1997 of May is Hypnotized by the Notorious B.I.G., which I spelled incorrectly. For the last 2 weeks, number 1 is, and into June, is Mbop by Hanson.
Yes.
If you remember from our third episode, which would be June 1997, it was number 1 then.
Okay.
Also on the Hot 100 for the last week in May of 97, we have number 4, Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison. Number 5, Foolish Games / You Are Meant for Me by Jewel.
Yes.
Number 13, It's Your Love by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Put that one on there for you for some reason. On the 14th, I did it again. Number 14, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down by Puff Daddy featuring Maze and Puff Daddy holding his jacket like this. This is me motioning with the jacket outward in the air.
I have a button-up shirt, so I'm doing it.
Yeah, nice. Number
I'm not a wind machine. Or a cheese grater.
Just turn up your fan a little bit. Number 23, Unbreak My Heart by Toni Braxton. And number 25 is brought up by Wannabe by the Spice Girls. Hey, it's that time of the month, everyone. It's our first installment of thank you to our Patreon patrons. I guess that's the term, patrons.
Who are patronizing us.
Yes. Unfortunately, no one's patronizing us this month because it's just so fresh and new. But instead, we're just going to read off some random names that we think deserve to be read as listeners of our podcast. First off, we have Scott Pilgrim. Andrew, you want to do the next one?
Jepson Shoapello.
Baby Yoda.
Elmira Anxo Sigurdsson.
Apu from The Simpsons.
Oh, this is a good one. Tiamaki Naguri Jahaz.
Jason St. John.
Not to mention Immer Sebastian Planquet.
Triple double thank you to our Jewel Club member, Jewel's Green Room level member, R2D2 Robot staring at me.
And rounding it out with the Namely 90s Kids Club, we've got Rufus Landolfi.
Thank you, Rufus. You've been very helpful.
You're too kind.
And if you'd like to become a patron so we don't have to think of random names on the spot, check us out at patreon.com/namely90s with a 90s. And now back to the show.
Gosh, all that music brings me back. It reminds me of listening to Star 101.5 with Kent and Allen in the morning. No, I'm very sorry.
Except for
have we talked about that thing where every like 90s video just looks like they're inside of a cheese grater? Have we talked about that?
I think so. I think we talked about that when we talked about, I think we did Mo Money, Mo Problems. And
right.
That's when I first brought up the Puff Daddy with his coat thing.
That's right.
But yes.
Good one.
Yeah, with the fisheye lens and what is clearly just a giant fish grater that they have on the music video shooting lot somewhere. Yeah. And then I feel like we didn't get any Notorious B.I.G. on Star 101.5. But
no, probably not that one. I would agree with that.
Although we did, sorry, I misspoke. We did get, I know we had, I guess that was in memoriam to him, the Puff Daddy song.
Yeah, the tribute, the I'll Be Missing You
yes.
to the tune of Sting's song.
Sting and the Police, I believe. I'll be watching you. Or it might just be the Police at that point.
I don't know.
I mean, there's such good stuff to talk about this month. Anywhere you want to go? I feel like we should start with there was an insurrection in the 90s that we weren't aware of. Or sorry,
yeah, it's always.
I guess that's a secession.
Well, give a little bit of a synopsis because as promised, I did none of the prep that I promised I would do. Sorry.
You even wrote you had notes and research.
I know. So what's the real quick version of that whole insurrection thing?
Well, there was a 7-day standoff between Texas authorities and an armed separatist group called the Republic of Texas. The group's leader vowed to wage an Alamo-style fight to the death, but instead walked out of his trailer and surrendered with their guns on the ground in a military-style ceremony. So instead of... yeah. So if I remember correctly, what kicked this off is... So there's 3 leaders of this Republic of Texas separatist group, and they all kind of split off from each other, and this sect is... led by McLaren, Todd McLaren. That sounds wrong. And he kidnapped some government official, I believe, and that's what started the standoff. And then it all ended peacefully because they were white people in Texas.
So. Well, I'm assuming they're like anti-immigrant,
I do not know their beliefs. All I know is they're like the loonies in California that are like, California should become its own country. Without thinking
I was just
about the...
wanted to point out the fact that McLaren, a Scottish and Northern Irish name,
yes, is also a supercar.
I just always think it's funny when they're like, let's keep these immigrants out of here. And it's like, yes. And where were you from, sir?
Yeah.
Or when they think that Native Americans are immigrants, which is always awkward.
So, I believe you're missing something. I can't put.
But isn't it so strange when like it's like a fine line between
our land?
No, it goes from like the people most likely to form these sects that are going to break off are like the people who would purport themselves to be the most patriotic, but then
Yes.
somehow that bleeds into being the least patriotic by trying to secede from the country.
Yes.
Like the people in the South, they're like, we cherish our Confederate heritage, but also America. It's like you tried to leave and are glorifying that. So I'm confused.
Yep.
Right?
And it all kind of relates back to some sort of systemic racism. And
Yes.
it's
Systemic and systematic.
true. Isn't that the same thing?
Do you know what bothers me? This is completely off subject, but somehow you reminded me of this. When people mean to say regimen, but they say regime.
Oh, ooh, what?
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Like, yeah, this is my I don't know, nightly skincare regime. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
no, that's a different word that you're trying to use. And that's a really annoying thing. I just wanted to point that out.
I guess I never realized that they were not interchangeable words.
Yeah, the more you know.
Da-na-na.
Watch, I'm gonna be so wrong. I'm gonna get patronized on Twitter.
Yes.
Please save your patronizing for Patreon.
There we go. All right. We passed the America had an insert. Nope. Keep using that one interchangeably.
Hey, listen. You can't spell insurrection without erection. Well, I mean, you can spell it without erection, but you can't say it without erection. Did I just say erection 4 times?
Yes.
Insurrection.
Insert erection.
No. Oh, gosh. And we have now lowered ourselves to the lowest possible bar.
Which means
really.
it's time to talk about Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Yeah.
See, I had a plan the whole time.
Good one.
Do you remember Austin Powers?
I do. Do you?
Yes. Would you like me to talk? Okay, I'll talk about it.
You start.
Just to refresh our audience, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery is a 1997 American spy comedy film directed by Jay Roach. It is the first installment of the Austin Powers franchise. And it stars co-producer and writer Mike Myers playing Austin Powers and Dr. Evil, which is Austin Powers' arch enemy. I put a double S on the plural of an S. Dang it. Supporting roles are played by Elizabeth Hurley, who I follow on Instagram and does not look like she's aged in 30 years. Like, damn.
Hashtag Insta.
Yes. Sorry. Also, Robert Wagner, Seth Green as Scott Evil, Austin or Dr. Evil's illegitimate child that he didn't know about. Oh. And
there you go.
Michael York. The film is a parody of the James Bond films, which ties into us talking about MGM being bought earlier today. And especially the Diamonds Are Forever movie and other 1960s, I believe that was the Sean Connery era films. And let's see, it cost $16.5 million to make. It grossed over $53 million from the North America release and $67 million worldwide. It's
not bad.
Yeah, and then it had 2 sequels: The Spy Who Shagged Me and Goldmember.
I'm appalled that the Flintstones did so much better, but
that's true. But it was also a family comedy versus this was
true.
This was a racy comedy, which apparently we still watched as children. Like, or at least I watched as children. Man, this is really just a reflection of our parenting or our parents' parenting skills.
Yeah, I don't believe we should have been allowed to watch this. And I don't know if I watched it right when it came out, but
I definitely watched the edited
I do recall these movies.
TV version. Like, you know, it
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of classic lines. My problem is I can't remember which movie each of them is from. So I could be quoting Austin Powers and have no idea which movie it was.
Well, my favorite comes from the third movie where Austin's dad, played by a famous British actor who was an Alfred at one point. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he says, there are 2 things in this world that I hate: people who are intolerant of other races and religions, and the Dutch.
Yeah. The one I remember is always when they're like having the meeting and he's like, preparations A through G have been completed, which brings us to preparation H. And then I don't know who it is, but someone's like, yeah, on the whole, preparation H feels pretty good.
That's either the first or second one. They also, in the first one, they hit that type of joke pretty hard where he's like, he's building a giant laser on the moon or something. And he's like, we'll call it, or that might be the second one. We'll call it the Death Star, a giant super laser created by Dr. Alan Parsons. He keeps talking about the laser. He's like, therefore I named it the Alan Parsons Project, which is a band. That one always got me.
Basically, the whole thing is just a bunch of like toilet and sex humor, essentially.
Yeah, someone just sent me the GIF of when he's in the bathroom and Tom Arnold's in the stall next to him, and there's like a spy that comes out of the wall on the toilet and starts choking him. And then Tom Arnold thinks the guy's just, or Austin's like, Tom Arnold, who's in the bathroom stall next to him, thinks he's just, Austin's trying to push out a really hard poop and keeps encouraging him.
Is Tom Arnold as Tom Arnold or as a different character?
50-50. He's wearing a cowboy hat, so he could be playing Tom Arnold wearing a cowboy hat.
Okay, I see.
I think he was playing like a rich Texan. But yeah, and then just all the poop jokes. So we brought up a couple episodes ago, I Touch Myself by the Divinals. I believe I read that.
Yep.
I didn't remember until after that episode aired or after we recorded that episode. I first heard that song in Austin Powers because when he's infiltrating Dr. Evil's like volcano lair, he gets lured in by the fembots, and then he uses his mojo to destroy them. So he starts doing a strip tease set to that song. And then Elizabeth Hurley's character runs into him, and he's just like wearing an orange thong with the Union Jack on it, and a bunch of just decapitated fembots on the ground. So we use that GIF a lot on Twitter now.
Yeah.
Because it's just Mike Myers pretending to be
I do like, there's
sexy.
this kind of like, there's this like feminist meme that's popped up.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like a scene of him with some woman. I don't know who that is. And she's like, kiss me. And he goes, I can't, darling. You're drunk. It's not right. And then at the bottom it says, even the most sexed up man in all of history knew that taking advantage of women was never okay. I'm like, that's a good point. That's not that seems profound. I'm sure it wasn't on purpose, by the way.
It could be.
In a way, it does seem profound.
I think that's is that Heather Graham's character in the second movie?
I don't know who anyone is.
Wow. Is she blonde or brunette?
Brunette. I knew who Michael Caine was. At least give me some credit for that.
It's the first movie. It's Elizabeth. That's Elizabeth Hurley, isn't it? Because
I don't know. I don't know who nobody is.
She gets drunk and then like confesses that she's into Austin, and he actually likes her. So he's like, this isn't right, baby.
This isn't right.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right, we should move on.
Yes. Where do you want to go? I think there's a big one. This is just a movie podcast now, for this episode, but
pretty much. I mean, yeah.
We talked about insurrection, or God damn it. We talked about separatists.
Separatists.
Yes.
Erection. How about Jurassic Park: The Lost World?
Yeah. Tell us about Jurassic Park: The Lost World, unless you want me to read that blurb.
I really had read the book more than anything, and I found the book to be really good.
Didn't he write that after the success of the movie?
He wrote The Lost World before the Lost World movie came out.
No, after the success of the first movie.
I can't remember the timeline, but yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And the book was really good. The movie really had nothing to do with the book.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, that's not surprising, seeing as Jurassic Park 3 exists.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't very good. I mean, Vince Vaughn turned in a pretty good performance, I guess.
Did he?
No. And then obviously Jeff Goldblum, who I love and everything, was good.
He's fantastic in this.
Who else was in that?
Julianne Moore.
Oh, okay. I like her and stuff.
That was the estranged. Wasn't that the estranged girlfriend of Ian Malcolm?
Yes, I believe so. I liked her and stuff back then. She was also in one of my favorite movies with David Duchovny, Evolution.
That was in
tying it back into David Duchovny.
That was in the
that was 2001. Yeah. I know. I'm just saying. She was like popular kind of in that time frame, and now she's probably in some like off book Netflix something about like 18th century serial killers or something. I don't know.
Was she not one of the Clarices from the Hannibal movie?
I think so.
Let's see what else. Yeah, it was based on the 1995 novel The Lost World. I assume, I've never read the book, but I assume more characters from the original novel came back in The Lost World. So
I can't remember, but it was more of like they were like exploring the island and finding remnants of the old park and kind of doing stuff with that. And like they were having revelations about things that were going on. Whereas this movie was like some bad guys are stealing dinosaurs
from the other island.
Yeah.
Where they raised the dinosaurs before bringing them back to the main island, which
I feel like is kind of a carryover too. But the book has very little, or the movie has very little to do with the book. The book is excellent, as with most things that he wrote.
Yeah, I remember. I think I saw this in theaters. It was very terrifying. And I remember the scene when the trailer is like hanging over the edge and they're all trying to like climb up this. They had some giant mobile trailer because RVs were super popular in the mid-90s.
It was like an articulated bus.
Yes. And they had to climb it up it as the window, like the bottom was falling out or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, and then like the whole thing falls, like they are in the middle of it and it falls around them and then like explodes. That's a very stressy scene.
Yes. I remember I think for Christmas or my birthday, must have been Christmas because this would have came out after my birthday. I got the trailer as, or whatever you called it, the research station trailer thing for my birthday, and I would play with that.
Because they bring like the injured T-Rex. I almost said puppy. The injured T-Rex baby into the trailer, and it's like crying out, and its mom hears it and comes and finds it.
And then I think the movie itself is pretty good contained on the island, but then the InGen, I think, is it an InGen group that takes the T-Rex back to the mainland?
That's the second movie. Yeah, that is the second movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When it gets back to land, it's just so stupid.
Yeah. Like the whole, I would say the last third of the movie, or it might even be like just a quarter of the movie, because like the main story is resolved, but they're like, oh, that's too much like the first movie. We need to add a dinosaur rampaging through downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah, like the ship crashes into LA.
Yeah.
The docks, and then like the dinosaurs running around. It's just too much. Yeah. I think everyone universally agrees that that's the stupidest thing they've ever done.
Until Jurassic World.
Until Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
As well.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer Dr. Grant to Ian Malcolm as characters. I like Jeff Goldblum, but
Yeah, and I like how they had to reprise the role of like annoying kids in the second movie. And like I didn't need the kids.
The third movie too. Like what is it about the Jurassic Park franchise that needs annoying children?
I feel like the kids, they don't do anything for me. They don't do anything for the storyline. They just annoy me.
It's not an entry point for children into the movie because Why?
Because children of that age probably shouldn't be watching the movie.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, watching this movie, I should climb electrified fences and hold on when it's warning
frankly,
me not
the kids,
to.
the kids in the first movie overacted the crap out of it. Like, it was annoying.
And the one in the second movie, she was a gymnast, I guess. That came into play at one point.
Yeah, which somehow came into play later. Yeah, you're right.
The velociraptors are like swarming around, or in the building they're in, and she had to like
chalk up her hands and start twirling around stuff.
Yeah, she had to.
She didn't chalk up her hands.
No, well, I think she might have with
she
like
might have
dirt.
Dirt
yeah, and then she like did a bunch of parallel bars, or whatever, to cross a chasm, I think, and get to a helicopter. I don't know. I haven't watched I don't know why TNT insists on playing Jurassic Park 3, which is the worst of the entire franchise.
Seriously, just stop.
So yeah, I would much rather accidentally stumble across The Lost World on playing, but I never see that. I only see the first one or the third one, and now Jurassic World on TV, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, very.
But it's not like I'm just going to turn on the movies on Netflix, which I can easily do. Because I mean, I've watched all of that stupid animated Camp Cretaceous show.
Course.
Where
my kids like it.
Yeah. I mean, they killed off that character at the end of season 1, and I was like, wow, they went for that. I
don't think my kids are old enough for it either, by the way.
Yeah. Realizing all of the deaths off screen are just dinosaurs tearing children to pieces.
Yeah. So you've ever seen a child be digested?
And you wonder why your children just walk into your room in the middle of the night and are like, Daddy, how would you like to die?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. They say all sorts of stuff about death. It's freaky. Kids, man. Kids say the darndest things. And so do sexually aggressive, washed up comedians. What?
Who are thrown in jail. I don't have a transition for this one then. Fifth Element. The Fifth Element. Did you ever watch this movie?
Yes. I think most people like it.
Yes.
It's
very polarizing.
Really don't like it. I really hate it because, and it's like the reason I don't like it is because I hate like future movies, because like future movies are always so cheesy, and it's like, oh, 300 years in the future, like it's not going to look like that. I just guarantee you right now, it's not going to look that way. So anything that's like sci-fi future, I just can't do it.
For those of you that don't know, The Fifth Element is a 1997 English language French science fiction action film directed by Luc Besson and co-written by Besson and Robert Mark Kamen, with a story that Luc Besson had been thinking of since he was like a teenager, and then finally put it to screen when he was 38. It stars Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, and Mila Jovovich. Primarily set in the 23rd century. Its plot involves the survival of planet Earth, which becomes the responsibility of Corbin Dallas, played by Bruce Willis, a taxicab driver and former special forces major, after a young woman, played by Jovovich, falls into his cab. To accomplish this, he has to join forces with her to recover 4 mystical stones essential for the defense of Earth against the impending attack of a malevolent cosmic entity. And they left out the fact that Chris Tucker's in this, and he plays like like a prima donna rock star, and like Bruce Willis has won some sort of contest, and they're on like a space opera barge, and Chris Tucker just talks in like an auto-tuned voice the entire time.
Well, the thing I don't get about these like future movies and like alternate aliens. Universe movies is like there's always someone having outrageous hair and wearing some kind of like ridiculously over the top gaudy clothing. Like, is that what the future holds? Why do we assume that? It's just weird. I don't.
If you look at the Puritan nature of our
movie like that,
clothing prior to this century, fashion does change a lot. But no, this was, I think specifically this film, it was a French film, so they go a little weirder with their
the fact that it's a French film, I did not know that, and that explains a heck of a lot to me.
Yeah. I honestly I like the movie. I liked the movie back when we were kids. I liked it now. Mila Jovovich wearing as Lilu, wearing that weird strappy white outfit,
right.
Very revealing. It very. I don't know where I'm going with that. Mila Jovovich, yes, Mila Jovovich, very attractive woman, and the orange hair. Still don't know where I'm going with this. Oh, Bruce Willis,
and talented actress.
Was she in this? Early on, she played mostly just like this movie. She said 5 words.
I have no idea who she is.
She
other than that she's in this movie.
She's in all the Resident Evil movies. That's
okay.
her niche, I believe. But she's I want to say Ukrainian, but
I thought that was a new medical drama. Resident Evil. No, sorry, that's stupid. As with most things that I say.
And then the end of, I don't know, the Bruce Willis coming off of the Die Hard franchise, he's made to look like he's older. Like this was the era when he was on Friends, dating Rachel and Ross's the father to Ross's girlfriend.
Yeah, the father Ross's girlfriend. That's right.
Yeah, which he wasn't as thin as he was in Die Hard 10 years earlier. He was balding, which I guess he was always balding, but in this movie they play that up, and but he still kicks ass as an action star in this. And I like me some Bruce Willis, I'll be honest. Me too. And it wasn't until I was older that I realized that the weird evil guy is Gary Oldman, because he has a half hair and then a plate on his head, and he has all these weird orc monsters following him around. It's
just too much. It is. All the stuff going on with the heads is too much.
And then they do the James Bond ending where it's they're in an escape pod together, and or the other the priest is knocking on the door oh, what's going on in there, and they're just doing it.
If you're listening right now and you think that the future is going to look like that in 200 years, please write in because I think you're wrong.
Yes, and specifically target that to Namely Andrew on Twitter.
Yeah, at Namely Andrew with a 90S. Wait, no, that's...
Any closing remarks for May 1997?
What a month it was.
Yes.
What a month. No, I've got nothing.
Well, then that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Namely 90s with a 90S, or find our personal accounts at bshwitty and at Namely Andrew, and tell him why he's wrong about the Fifth Element and its futurism. If you would like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90S. Finally, you can contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, yeah baby, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts at. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time. Should we do it in our stupid voices from last week?